All right, welcome to day 4. Today we're going to talk about diets, specifically a few different options that you may have heard of, and then we're going to talk about what the simplest thing that is effective for you to see the change you want. All right, so there are a million diets. As long as people have been around, they've been making up diets and coming up with different styles of eating. And if you look back over the last few decades, the diet that was popular then got erased by the next diet, In the 90s and the late 80s, 90s, and 2000s, it was all low fat, no fat, reduced fat, all carbohydrates. It's got to be focused on removing all saturated fats at all costs, cut out the cholesterol. And then now you saw a big switch back to carbs are bad, sugar's the devil, bread is horrible for you, and now we need to have cholesterol and saturated fat. And if you pick up anything from these trends, you'll realize that whatever is popular and trending is almost always an extreme that people are gravitating to. The biggest thing that people see when they start a new diet is a success from it's called a healthy user bias, right? That means that people that are making decisions to eat better are also generally making decisions to sleep better, drink more water, exercise, stop smoking, stop drinking so much, be nice to people. And you'll notice that the effect of all of these things tends to boost morale because you're doing things that are good for your body. That doesn't necessarily mean that your switch to being a vegetarian did all of this stuff for you. It just may mean that stopping smoking and not drinking as much and sleeping a little bit more was really helpful too. I've attached a link below to a podcast I did on different types of diets, and that's going to be a little bit more in depth than I will go here. So if you're interested, check that out. But to touch briefly on a few, one of the most popular ones that you see kind of come and go is this idea of macronutrient exclusion. And so that's the idea of you cut out one thing. In the 80s and 90s, it was all fats. Cut the fats out. In the 2000s, it turned into protein's the devil. Too much protein is going to ruin your kidneys, so we got to go low protein. And then in the 2010s, it's been no carbs. Carbs are the worst. And so any of these diets that cuts out almost entirely a macronutrient profile is generally not going to be the best place to start. That does not mean that people have not seen success with a low protein or a low fat or a low carbohydrate diet, but it does mean that if you're just looking to get started on your diet journey, you don't need to go extreme. People will generally underestimate the value of small changes and overestimate the value of extreme changes when it comes to anything they're trying to improve in their life. So for now, instead of picking up a book on keto and trying to squeeze into that and change your whole life, just think about where you can find balance and moderation with everything. After the macronutrient exclusion diets, there's the gamifying or system diets that get you into a specific way of thinking. Where there's Weight Watchers, Atkins, zone diets. Those diets that give you a framework for how to think about food and they make it simple for you to do that. That's good because it's a step up from just getting so focused into I gotta move more and eat less, which is very hard to do because it's very nebulous and broad. These diets get you to focus on the lifestyle change and eating better quality food than they do focusing on the calories and the actual counting every single day. And that's a good thing because it gets you to think outside of the overwhelming, I gotta read the nutrition label, know everything on here, which can be overwhelming and isn't always necessary. The only difficulty with that is if you get too far into the system or you're not subscribed to the Beachbody drink shakes or the supplements that they sell with you, you can fall off of that because you're not building your own self-reliance. Right? The third category is one where it really focuses on the lifestyle. And this is one that I practice myself, intermittent fasting. It is not right for everybody, so please don't hear that coming from me. But the thing I value the most about this is that it focuses strictly on the lifestyle and the habitual change that you need to have to see the weight loss you want. Intermittent fasting is simply having a period of 12 to 14 hours at least between the last meal of the day and the first meal of the next day. Apart from all of that, the number one thing I recommend to clients is to focus on these 3 changes. Number 1, cut out the sugar. Stay less than 25 grams a day. Added sugar, that's not intrinsic sugar, meaning that things that if you have sugar added into a food that wouldn't already be there, that's an added sugar. So the sugar that's in an apple or milk doesn't count because those are intrinsic sugars. Number 2, don't drink your calories. Stick to water. If you drink sodas, juices, sports drinks, even milk in this instance, wine, alcohol, all of those calories provide you zero nutritional benefit. And you're just adding in calories without getting the satiety. Even if you're getting a meal replacement or a nutrient shake, you're not getting the satiety from the food. So don't drink the calories, switch to water. And third, cut the snacking out. Eating out of boredom, stress eating, binge eating, no matter what it is, those are calories we don't need. If you can cut those 3 things out, the sugar, drinking calories, and the snacking, you will guaranteed see an improvement in everything else. And those are the smallest changes you have to make. So you could stick with the majority of what you're already eating from a diet and meal perspective and make those changes, and you'll see a tremendous improvement. Let me know, either send an email if you have any questions, or let me know on the forum if you want some feedback on how to change anything. But to start, think about the smallest changes you can make to see the results you want, and then move forward from there. All right, I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks.